The following program is brought to you by PodcastOne Sportsnet.
The month of October just keeps getting better every single week. With the World Series, NFL, college football, NBA, and NHL, this truly is the greatest time of year for all the passionate diehard sports fans out there. And there's only one place to get in on all the action, betonline.ag. Use promo code PodcastOne to receive a 50% sign-up bonus when signing up. betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts and the exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin's show. I am coming to you from the Silver State. I'm out here at the Broken Skull Ranch 2.0, sitting on my ass on my podcast couch, and I got a real cool guest for you today. Former Army Ranger Jim Erwin stops by the house today, and we're shooting the breeze about everything military, hunting, shooting, training, all kinds of cool stuff. This is a guy that enjoys the outdoors just as much as I do and is highly trained in doing a lot of the activities that I love to participate in. So great conversation. Always enjoy shooting the breeze with him. We was just down at the shooting range a couple of days ago as we're getting me dialed in on my 300 Win Mag and doing a lot of shooting, going to different shooting ranges, and just having a blast in the outdoors. So I'm really ready for my trip. Hopefully I get a shot that presents itself, and we'll see how it goes from there, but I am dialed in and ready. And it's real interesting to go do an activity that you're very passionate about and do it with someone who's way more knowledgeable than you are and can help deliver you information that you had no idea existed. When you're talking to someone who's gone through Ranger School, Sniper School, all this extensive, badass scientific training, if you will, and real life experience and just repetitive situations, a shooter that's natural and a guy that also instructs just can really give you so much more knowledge about what you're doing. So it was a pleasure spending time with Jim. I hope you enjoy the conversation. We're just talking about all the things that I love as far as the outdoors goes and getting a little bit of background on Jim's line of work. He's done several podcasts. If you go to YouTube and just type in Jim Erwin, you'll hear a lot of his stories about him growing up. And I kind of wanted to stay away from that because he's talked about that, and I just want to talk about shooting and just have a general conversation. Next time we talk, we'll probably speak about something just a little bit more specific. But I hope you enjoy this conversation because he came over to the crib. It's a face-to-face conversation talking about the things that we both love. So enjoy the conversation. But before we get to the conversation, man, I want to give a shout out to the women over there at WWE, and WWE is an organization. I haven't seen the complete pay-per-view Evolution that happened last night. The World Series was on. Evolution was on. I was trying to do a podcast. Well, I was doing a podcast with Ted Fowler 361 for my Thursday show because I am leaving for my mule deer hunt day after tomorrow, and I have a million more things to do to prep, get ready, get my trailer, my gear, all my stuff packed. So I haven't got a chance to see the entire pay-per-view. I watched a couple pieces of matches. I caught a lot of Charlotte and Becky, almost the whole match. I caught, 2 or 3 parts of other matches. You talk about a lot of high-level work. Those women put on a hell of a damn show. There were some damn good matches on that card. I read a couple of the reviews, and everybody was pretty much on the same page as I was. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch the pay-per-view in its entirety. I only got to saw bits and pieces of it, like I said, because I got so many things going on. But what I saw was outstanding. Everything I've read has been super positive. Just a momentous occasion, and maybe this will be a yearly thing. I think it's awesome. And the women, man, pat yourselves on the back, be happy, put a smile on your face, because all of the people who participated, all the women that participated, just put on stellar matches and worked their asses off. And if you're in the wrestling business, you're proud of this because, you know, wrestling for years has been a male-dominated industry. That's just the way it was. And then you had women, you know, sprinkled in here and there. Then you had all these trailblazers who paved the way for the women's movement that's been happening for the last few years, and the in-ring product, the talent, the athletic ability, the stories that these women are telling, how they've advanced the game inside the squared circle of a 20-by-20 ring has just been amazing. So I love women's wrestling way back in the day. You know, everybody knows I was a huge Glow fan, and whether you like it or not, I loved it. And to see all of where it's come from the old fabulous Moolah days to all of those old timers, and for it to be what it is now, it was awesome. Great pay-per-view, great performances. Hats off to WWE, specifically hats off to the women of WWE, all the WWE women superstars. Awesome job. I will watch the entire pay-per-view all together, but everything I saw was lights out. Good effing work. Congrats. Before I get out of here, before we get to my conversation with Jim, appreciate you guys sending in the Q&A. I'm going to record that one today, put it in the can for my producer, Sean. I appreciate Sean bearing with me while I'm trying to get this hunt in, 5 days worth out here in the middle of nowhere. And I'll be telling you some stories about my hunting trip. I'll try to roll some sound out there and capture some stories as they happen. We're not going to try to make anything up, but looking forward to getting the F out of here and getting in the woods. Let's skip over all my bullshit. Let's jump into conversation with the Kraken, Jim Erwin. The month of October just keeps getting better every single week with the World Series, NFL, college football, NBA, and NHL. This truly is the greatest time of year for all the passionate diehard sports fans out there. The NBA season is off to a hot start with the Nuggets and Raptors, and we've got the Predators and the Hurricanes strong out of the gates in NHL. Are you looking for a place for all your online wagers? Look no further, because our friends at betonline.ag have got you covered. Betonline.ag is an exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet and our go-to for online sports betting. You need someone to get behind? These are the guys. Don't hesitate. Head over to betonline.ag to take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. When you're there, use promo code PodcastOne. That's PodcastOne to receive a 50% sign-up bonus today. One more time, that's betonline.ag and use promo code PodcastOne to start winning with your online sportsbook experts. Speaking of bets, here's a safe bet for you. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. That's right. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance at geico.com. Extra money in your pocket? It may just be the most rewarding thing you do today.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Yeah, man, I'm rolling sound. I'm out here in the Silver State, Nevada, BSR 2.0. I got my guest on the show today, my old buddy, my new friend, Jim Erwin. Jim, how are you?
Doing good, brother. Appreciate the invite.
God dang, dude. Well, when did we meet? About 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I'd say about 3 weeks ago. I got word that you were into hunting, and a buddy of mine was messing with your place and said, "Hey, you need to meet this dude."
Jim rolls over, man. He brings over his car and he pops the back end of that thing, and he's got all these damn rifles, a lot of bull barrel stuff, bipods, high powered quality optics. I'm like, holy smoke, this guy's at a different level. But he had told me that you former Special Operations Forces, 75th Ranger Regiment. So you're former Delta Ranger, right? Army Ranger?
Army Ranger, yeah. Then that's where I started. That was my birthplace, if you will, in the military. And it was my goal in high school and as a teenager to become was an Army Ranger and a sniper within that unit. And then down the road, ended up getting into Delta Force. All
right, I've seen a lot of your interviews on YouTube, and I know you talk a lot about your background because you basically grew up like Mammoth, June Lakes, Lee Vining.
Yep.
So little bitty small towns. You played all the sports. You lettered. I know you were crawling around the mountains, but just crawling around the mountains and being an outdoors person, and you didn't do a lot of shooting back then when you were a kid. So what just made you dead set and say, hey, man, I'm going to get in the Army, and then I'm going to take it as far as I can go?
Well, I think it started with the first pair of ninja booties I saw. No, I'm kidding.
All right, here we go. No. This is going to be a good story or some bullshit.
So that'd be some serious bullshit right there. No, I was growing up, I had this fascination with reading stories on guys like Carlos Hathcock and some of the Marine Corps snipers.
I read all
and how they owned a battlefield and instilled fear. And I'm like, that's some badass stuff. Like, that's the kind of thing I want to do. Like, just 1-2 dudes out there being able to like dominate a space. Not big unit tactics. I wasn't into tanks or airplanes, stuff like that. I like the stealth and like the sneakiness of being able to come in and just putting fear in your opponent, your adversary. And that's what drove me from like 12, 13 years on. And I knew, like, probably in the 8th grade, I was going in the military.
So, man, I used to read those Carlos Hathcock books. Well, there's just a couple of them that I read about his life story. But, going back to the days of technology, because we're talking about, man, I'm getting ready to go on my mule deer hunt. We got together. We went out to a couple of different shooting ranges. We got all dialed in. We went through some paces that I normally don't go through. We want to get to that. But going back to the Carlos Hathcock days, now back then, weren't they running basically a 30-06 with a fixed 10-power scope?
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
And then the amazing thing too is the shots they were able to make with like an old 30-06. Like, you're talking 800. Hell, I think he did one shot at $2,000 with a 50 cal. Like, they put a single round in an old area suppressed weapon and smoked a dude off a bike. I'm like, that's pretty damn. That's natural talent, and that's what those guys ran off of, was bushcraft and their natural abilities to read the environment and then just know their weapon system. And that's kind of where it started with me. Well, yeah, it just not even kind of started with me in the early days. I had a 308, 24-inch M24, just a Remington 700 bull barrel, and I thought that gun was the cat's meow. And anything over about 700 yards as a sniper in the Rangers, like, you were legit. Like, you knew your stuff, right? Fast forward to modern times, I have my wife, all 120 pounds of her, about 10, 15 minutes of, instruction on the scope, this and that. And she has, granted, she has a natural ability to shoot too. She really does. But I'm five shots in a row, headshots on a deer target at $1,000. Like, I'm just watching it. Yep, hit. And it never came off the scope. 6.5 Creedmoor. So technology's come a long way from our days of eating bush, bro.
Hey, man, what was the deal with the understand, the AR-15 in that particular round, but with the 308 back in the day, was it because it was so cheap to produce and mass ammunition? Because my question was always why the armed forces were so high on the 308. Because, owning my ranch down in South Texas, I was used to always hunting with a 7 mag or my dad's 264 Win mag or, 270, 30-06, those type of things. And I built an AR-10 as a hog gun. Of course, that's a 308. And all of a sudden, cold deer were showing up, and I'd go ahead and use that thing on the cold deer. And I was like, man, this thing is performing really, really well. So I fell in love with the 308 caliber after just despising it because I didn't have any information about it. So now I have more 308s than I have anything. Right. But it kind of shoots like a rainbow once you start getting out there towards the distance. Is it something about just the shape or whatever, the dynamics of the bullet that make that thing fly as accurately as it does?
Yes. The short answer on that is yes. The ballistic coefficient, or BC as it's called, is good in the 308. However, it's been far surpassed in modern days, especially like with the advent of like the 6.5 round, the 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Grendel, and some other ones out there. These other ones you're talking about, that they're able to really just dial in and how their flight, the way they defeat air, is better than the 308 nowadays. So the 308, I think, if you take it back, and don't quote me on this, but it really all went to the NATO compliancy type of stuff. And they're like, this is a NATO specific bullet that you can basically get almost anywhere. Right. So you had your 5.56, your 9mm, your AK-47, it was at your 7.62 by 39 round. That was like, these are the NATO specific rounds that all our allies were using. So if you threw in what you'd call like a hybrid at that point, whether you went to a 7mm, 300 Win mag, days now we're using 300 Win mags, 338 Lapuas or bigger, these Shy-Tac rounds that are freaking ballistic coefficients of like 1. Like, that's like holy grail numbers. And that's why that thing can defeat air so well and just continue to fly. So, for example, you talk about a 308 round that you talk about that big rainbow, right? And if memory recalls, I think I was 174 inches at its apex for a 1,000-yard shot. Like, you're lobbing that sucker, right? You're probably getting splashed like near vertical coming in on your target, that threat. Take that same shot with a 6.5 Creedmoor. That's ballistic coefficients are higher. They're higher.
Right.
They flies flatter. It's just a smoother round. And you're probably, I haven't looked at that data, but I'm saying you're probably down into maybe 100-inch range. You're dropping like 40 inches of lob off of that thing, and that's an estimate. I'm guessing on that, but it just flies better, man.
So then, if a sniper was going to be deployed to go do a mission, what caliber are they going to be? For all intrinsic purposes, being taken off with.
Well, that would be very mission or unit specific. So you talk regular Army snipers, they're gonna here's your gun, dude, and here's some ammo. Go get it. Like in my day in the Rangers, you got a lot of ammo. Like you get a lot number of ammo. Right, here's your box of ammo, your pallet, if you will, crate of ammo, and this lot number, this and this. You start doing your homework on that. You go to the range, and you're shooting that ammunition to different ranges, so you have that data, that dope on your previous engagements to take with you in the hot zone. That's what you got. Like here's your rifle. I was like, well, I'm a left-handed guy. I was issued a right-hand bolt-action gun. It's probably 3 snipers before me had. Who knows how many bullets have been through that barrel. And I love that gun, man. Put my paint job on it, called it good. And that's what we deployed with. You get into some of the more specialized or black op units, you start to get choices because they're not restricted, I guess would be the word, to using specific already issued weaponry. You go into my former unit there on the special operations side, and the world's your oyster. And there we had an arms room that was just impressive, I guess. If you needed it, it was in there, and we had master gunsmiths that knew all that stuff, right? And like, okay, on this mission, I believe I'm going to need this. I guess a good example would be like Black Hawk Down, Gordon and Shugart as the snipers in that, and they had 7.62 guns and specific to what they wanted to take instead of an AR for that mission. They got to choose it, and I think that's where modern military is headed, instead of this you get what you get that we got out of Vietnam or Cold War era type of stuff. It's really evolved, and they're starting to understand technology a lot more and how it can make us even more lethal and a better fighting force.
Okay, let's just say you were going to go out and you were going to make a 1,000-yard shot. Just call it 1,000.
Yep.
What's your preferred round going to be right now?
Right now, the 2 guns I go to immediately would be a 300 Win Mag or my 338 Lapua. Both excellent guns that's still going to carry a lot of stopping force. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a phenomenal round, but it's a 143 grain bullet, not a 180 or 230 grain bullet. And with the right builds, I mean, you're sub 2-inch groups at 1,000 yards on these guns, and to me, that is freaking impressive.
Yeah,
like, that takes a lot of question out of your shot, right?
How many times did you go out on sniper stuff?
For me, my entire career was spent in late 80s and through the 90s. I got out in December of 2000, so I actually never deployed into Iraq or Afghanistan as a military force. I went in over as a contractor doing protection stuff. So I didn't take any of my stuff in that aspect. I was doing, but I had an M24, and then when I was in the unit, I carried an AR and a freaking bad attitude and a pistol.
So, dude, when I see all the sniper movies, all the action stuff, and people running, gunning, and trying to take cover, sliding down mountains, hills, stuff, you and me were just out sighting in my 300 Win Mag, getting ready for my mule deer hunting. So, man, when you pick your gun up out of the truck, or you're doing anything, or if it falls over, you don't want to bump your scope, because if you do, your zero is going to get knocked off,
sure.
And then you're shit out of luck. So my question to you is, your buddies or you, or whatever, if you're living and dying literally with this gun, and you're trying to complete the mission that's been given to you, whatever it is. So, man, what do you do? Because that is your life.
Yeah.
And you drop that thing, or you fall down a bunch of rocks, it's on your back, and it goes through the same thing you just went through. What's up? Because the shot you take might not land where you've intended it to go.
That's very true. There's a difference between your standard commercial gear and what the military is getting. So it is ruggedized. He's got the modern stuff is what they call like a mil spec or ruggedized, to where it's going to take you. And I am brutal on all my stuff. I beat the hell out of all my guns. $6,000 gun, $500 gun. I'm going to beat it up, and it needs to be able to withstand. Something to be said for spending money on good quality gear that you'll know will take a beating and keep going. A good example, and a shameless plug for my Leopold sponsorship. But
dude, I got Leopold on all my stuff. You saw it.
But got my wife's grandma, same scope for 50 plus years. God knows how many mountains. I think she used it as a crutch one day. I don't know. But through rivers and mountains and stuff, 50 plus years of hunting. Actually got her last mule deer at 89 with that thing. 89 years old. Same scope she was shooting when she was, 50, 60 years younger. Still, to this day, dead nuts right there, man. It's impressive. So good quality gear lasts, and if it's militarized or mil-spec or ruggedized, it's meant to take that kind of pounding, because if it doesn't pass the tests, you're typically not going to get it.
Dude, here's my Leopold story. And this ain't a plug, but this is a true story. My dad had a .264 Winchester Magnum, and that was a great flat shooting gun. It was kind of erased by the 7 mag.
Gotcha.
And everything's about, the new thing or what's sexy or the marketing behind
it's the new shiny.
Yeah, the .264 Win Mag was a great cartridge, and that's what my dad lived and died by. And he had a Leopold scope on that thing, fixed 4-power. This is before the variables came into play, right? And so he had that scope forever. And this is actually my stepdad, and he got us hunting, me and all my brothers hunting, and he had it forever. And he had that thing for probably close to easily 30 years, probably 40 years. And finally, the scope broke. He took it, of course, dude, after all those many years, he had no receipt, he had nothing. He sent it back. Leopold sent him a brand new 4-power scope to replace it. I'm just going along with your story there, but my dad, he was selling insurance. He was playing in country and western dance bands. He didn't have a truckload of money, but when he bought something, he wanted to get the best that he could, and that's the best that he could get. And all those years later, it paid off when they sent him a brand new scope. Pretty cool story.
Yeah, and that would be my advice to anybody looking to buy a firearm or optics, right? Is you and I we went out and shoot. Like, and I showed you my arsenal, man. I've got guns that are $500. I've got guns that are $7,000 to $10,000. Like, you don't need that $7,000 to $10,000 gun. What you get is what gun fits your price range and what you're going to use it for. And then you learn, like what we were doing. You learn what that gun's capability is, so you know comfortably what you're capable of, an ethical shot, or you got to get closer. You got to start crawling, bro. Start crawling, because that's a 500-yard gun.
But how close do you like to get? If knowing your skill set, shooting stuff at upwards of 1,000 yards, if you're truly trying to make an ethical shot, where do you draw the line as far as, because you do all the North American game, you elk, you aoudad, you mule deer, you sheep, I mean, everything.
For me, the comfort level is 600 and in. Have I taken longer shots? Absolutely. However, part of that excitement and challenge for me is how close can I get? Like, now it's game on, right? Like the spot and stock side of that stuff, where your heart rate's up and it's like, oh shit, I'm getting close, man. A 300-yard shot is not to pat myself, that's kind of a hip shot. Like 300 in is like, you're gonna just I can walk up and place that bullet basically the same place I'm gonna put it with that shot.
But that's cool. But I like the challenge. Highly proficient at long range shooting wants to get close because you enjoy the stalk.
Yeah, the challenge.
The challenge is getting close.
My skill set against that animal's will to survive, right? And it's a good time. Now, if I get to a point, and I'll use a short example, is I helped on a hunt last year for an elk tag down in Arizona with Rocky Mountain Precision. The guys that built my 338 Lapua, phenomenal dang rifle. That's that 2-inch grouper at 1,000. He built a rifle for this couple. The lady got the tag. Husband comes along, so we all go and we film it. It's a fun hunt, and we spot these elk, and they're about 500 to 600 yards. And as we get into position, she's trying to get the rifle up on a dang log to get a shot. It goes over down this bowl and into another bowl up on the other side. We're looking down a ravine to a river, and then over a ridge and down the other one, like to get to that. And they knew. I mean, it was loud as hell in there. There's deadfall everywhere. Like, you weren't getting closer. We did all our math, 3.5 hours watching, almost 4. We glassed that entire thing. Like, okay, if this got this opening, this is our turret settings. We did all our math, did all our reverse engineer the shots. We weren't going to be able to get closer and harvest. It wasn't going to happen. We'd blow them out of that place. So we made the decision as a group, we could make this shot based on the gun capability, the math. Is it carrying enough ballistic energy, when it hits to ethically kill? We did all our homework on that. 1,140-yard first-round hit. Now, it took us a while to get over there to get that sucker. High shoulder first-round hit. But if we could have got to a 600, we would have done it. It wasn't going to happen. So sometimes that terrain or the situation is going to dictate what we can do. So to me, then now you're relying, if we go back to that, you buy what you can absolutely afford, get the best quality you can for the money, and then train yourself So like, I'm comfortable at this, right? When we first started, you're like 400 and in, I'm good. And you were banging steel, sub 2-inch groups at 600. Where's your comfort level now?
Oh man, I'm really looking forward to this hunt because last year when I took off with my brother-in-law from Nevada Hunting Services, Mitch, I think he's the best guy in Nevada in my opinion.
I can't wait to meet him.
Oh, you'll love him. But we go out and man, I just went out and just kind of did my system, dialed in. I knew I was good at 300 on in. But, and I ended up taking a shot at 164. Ended up a little bit high. But, and that really bothered me because I'm like you. I want to place a pin about exactly where I want that bullet to go. So going out with you on that second day, we were good to 300. And I said, man, if I got to take a 400-plus yard shot, I really want to know. And you said, hey, man, I got this place we can go to. And I was like, well, let me check with the warden, me and my wife. And she gave me the green light. And so we went out there, and it was amazing. But we set up this little portable table you had. I got dialed in, put my bags down, and then just started at the 200, 300, worked up to 400. We made a dope sheet for my gun. And so now, the unit that I'm hunting isn't really known for great mule deer. I got lucky to kill a terrific buck last year. He come upon us, and we got him. But this year, to be able to know that I'm confident. Being confident at 300 yards is one thing. Being confident at 600 is exponentially, more than double. I feel that I'm ready to make that kind of shot, providing, winds, I got a good rest, all the variables. So it's just fun to go out there and shoot. And as much as I like to shoot, I still don't shoot enough just coming and going from L.A. And when we go down to Texas, me and my buddy Ted are just shooting fanatics, but we'd always just we really only had 100-yard range to zero in at. Anything else was out in the field, whether it's coyotes or hogs out to 350, 400 yards. But to be able to sit on a bench or go into prone position, which you like, I want to ask you about that. But, dude, just having those, we're shooting 8 or 10-inch steel targets. 10-inch plates at, I really felt good about it. And trigger time is so important. How often do you like to shoot? Do you still enjoy it after doing it all that you've done it?
I absolutely do. What I've found is now that I'm teaching as much as I am, like I do a lot less shooting and a lot more talking, but to be able to demo, say whether it's pistol, carbine, long range, to show like, hey, no, don't just take my word for it. Let's proof out what I'm saying and be able to put the rounds down and actually show impact and show accuracy or, speed with a gun and why, to me, it's hugely important. So I absolutely do. And it kind of made me think, when you were talking to me about this a couple days ago, I got to thinking about that, like the journey that started in, the late 80s. And when I started getting asked to teach, I was very, very hesitant to do it because, here I am, a former Army Ranger, sniper dude, distinguished honor graduate, blah, blah, blah. Check the boxes. I've done that stuff. But somebody taught me, right? And I never thought I was as good as those guys. When I got into the unit and started, Delta and getting like seriously trained in surgical shooting, like this is go time now. You make that shot instantly, cause that's all the time you got. And the guys that taught me, I truly looked up to, still to this day look up to, and never felt that I was at that level. But then I ran into a couple guys and they're like, well, I think you're doing the country a disservice, but like, you can't take that to your grave with you, man. Like you're too humble at this point to like share that knowledge and teach these guys what you've learned. You think you're at their level, but like you do your thing and you're very good at it. So what I teach on the fundamentals and the everyday ready side of things, the mental game of carrying a gun, I think has really made me enjoy it more. To get back to that question. Right. So I truly do enjoy it because to me now I'm 47, and my cleats are hung up as far as, running and gunning and putting bad guys in the ground. But why not share that knowledge and that information that I've gained in the last 30 years with people to help them aspire to be better shooters or join special operations and be a mentor and an inspiration to some of this youth and adults that say, hey, man, let's up your game. I'll show you what I know. There's no magical elixir or unicorn juice I'm pouring in this gun, dude. It's the fundamentals applied and doing some math behind it and getting that trigger time.
And talking about trigger time and talking about the fundamentals, and obviously you can get to calling wind and all that stuff, which is way advanced in my opinion. Dude, like I was telling you, when we went out, all my stuff, man, just using one crosshair And I've got a Boone and Crockett reticle, which means I have other graduations, but I don't have anything near the system that you employed. What's that? The trimmer 3 reticle?
Yeah, like a trimmer reticle on there.
Okay,
you got
so
the
I'm using
Horus and trimmer
crosshair.
reticles. It's basically like built in, to really boil it down to its generic term would be like just built-in Kentucky windage. It's already printed in your scope. The beauty of what I liked about yours is what we found to be true about your scope. What we thought wasn't necessarily what we proofed out when we started launching rounds, and that was like where you needed to hold. And you talked about wanting to be able to place that bolt exactly. So your first crosshair was like, that's your 0 to 300 crosshair. And for you and what you wanted to do, we found that you were basically within 3 inches of where you need to know, but now you have that information, right? So that you could just,
right.
Split the frog hairs, if you will.
And me just getting dialed in, we first started off in a prone position. We stayed prone for a box and a half of shells or whatever, and that was like a nightmare for me because I got a C34 neck fusion, which you didn't know about, but you liked the prone position. What is it with that with you? I mean, is that your preferred shot?
When you start talking long range precision, obviously it's the fundamentals of it, but it's eliminating all those variables, right? So the flatter, the lower, the more stable position you can create, the less the variables, the more constants you build into the gun. If we could just put that gun in a vise and all we ever had to do was just touch that trigger, that'd probably be the optimum shot. But us as a human need to be on that gun. And if I can get flat on the ground, control my breathing, and just kind of pan everything out and get lazy, if you will, on the gun, you start to reduce those variables. I mean, the human body as a shooting platform sucks. We have a heart rate. We got buck fever, we, panic mode strikes, oh my God, I only got 2 seconds for a shot. We slap the damn trigger, we have breathing. And so we add all this movement into the gun. So when you can get into that prone, you can reduce a lot of that, right? You can start to use, sand socks, bags, good solid bipods. Shameless plug, AccuTac bipods that I use, right, is you can really build a solid foundation to get that nice, accurate shot and really reduce those variables down.
With all your experience, you explain things a lot better. I was telling my buddy Ted coming up on the Thursday podcast, it's funny when I go out and shoot with people that are the same type of shots that I am,
right.
Kind of just been there, doing it a long time, but just have a certain level of knowledge about it. Then to speak with you, you're kind of like a scientist of it. So how would you give me your breakdown? And most of the people that hunt will know the term buck fever. Some of the people that don't hunt, just tell me your thoughts on what buck fever is, or the physiological response.
Yeah, the physiological response.
Because things change, and when all of a sudden you would think, all of a sudden you see this target, this
right.
animal or whatever that you want to harvest, and your heart's about to explode out of its chest, and it's going, maybe now 120, 130, 40 beats a minute, and you're trying to slow it down. Describe to me what you think buck fever is.
I'll try to set the table. I'll use an example, and for the I'm going to get kind of funny here. So the example I could give you, like in the millennial age, right? Like, so when like the pumpkin spice latte comes back, and the excitement behind I'm joking, brother. It's that all of a sudden like that
10% of my listeners just turned it off.
Don't drink the spice.
If you ever go to Starbucks and order a pumpkin spice latte,
straight up stunner.
We're going to have to come to Jesus meeting. No, go
the
ahead.
Friendship might be on the line right there.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know about that guy.
Yeah. Well,
really, talk to me about the physiological
effect of that is putting yourself in that moment. You're out there in everything. It could be months of planning to that, or trying to set an example is usually what I try to do, but it's a difficult thing to describe if you haven't been there. I would think maybe like, for some, maybe going on that very first date with a woman that, maybe thought was out of your league, right? Or the excitement of going to a race that you've been wanting to go to, or getting shot at. There's a good example. If you want to talk about your rev limiter going up quick, right? So you get shot at, blown up.
I feel you.
The example
it's never happened to me.
To set is like when you see that moment. And you know what? I'll use an example last year on my odd hunt with my wife. My wife is, I swear to, like, she's stone cold. Like, that woman does not get excited about a shot. I mean, she's just like, how far is it? I'm just like, damn, she's ruthless. She's straight gangster. In my big butt, I spot this freaking odd at about 1,000 yards up the mountain. course, it's at the top, and I'm at the base. And she's like, well, let's go. I'm like, I'm not going up there for that. I saw you. She's like, they're not alone, babe. Like, she's going to bust them. Like, the big boys are up there. So we go to the side of this mountain. I swear, she tried to take the rifle from me, my pack, everything, because I'm just like wheezing. I thought I saw Jesus and up on the side of that mountain. So we get into position finally. I'm breathing hard. So first of all, I've got that physical exertion to get to where I want to go. Yep. So training prior to help reduce that variable would help. We get in this position. We're looking for that little girl, right? Where does she go? Lo and behold, she busts this big old group of aoudad. There's like 25, 30 of them. There's a couple.
Explain to my listeners what an aoudad is. So I know. Yep. Tell me about it.
So cool thing on the aoudad is a Barbary sheep off the Barbary coast of Africa. It is considered an exotic in Texas. So you can hunt them all year round. You just need a hunting license. As the story goes, some old World War II Army boys over there in Africa doing their deal. And Texans, like, these would be cool to hunt, right? It's just like a big-ass goat, like a ram. It's actually in the goat family, not the sheep family, but it's a big-horned goat that just thrives in that austere, rocky, steep environment. And so these couple old-timers from frickin' Texas, Army boys, went back over there, bought some, brought them back, high-fenced them. Suckers broke out and have thrived ever since. There's like a between Texas, and my wife will correct me, I'm sure, if I miss it, Texas, New Mexico, California, it's like 25,000 of them now, and they just do real well in that environment. So
I never knew how they did it, dude. I lived in the hill country in Bernie, Texas, right outside of San Antonio. Of course, we go aoudad hunting, and they were everywhere. Yeah. And then I know you go a little bit east of El Paso. Yep. But let's go back to that story, because I never knew how they got here and that they were thriving as well as they have. Yeah. And they're just really neat animals.
They are, and they're robust. I mean, these guys are just hardy. My wife made her shot about 180 yards on her knees, at least a 45-degree angle on this thing, right? 180 yards with a 210 grain, 300 Norma pushing 3,000 foot a second at the barrel. I mean, just the hammer, right? That thing like flexed when it hit it. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding. It laid down like a few seconds later, came off the rock and laid down. But I thought that thing would just get like cartwheeled off the back of that rock. But just a real robust, hardy animal, and they're savvy. They spot you, they move, and they move quick. So it's one of those things too. You get back to that excitement of the hunt.
Okay, we're back there. You're looking at you're 1,000 yards
like,
away.
Oh snap! Yeah, in my wheezing voice, oh snap! And I'm like, they're right there. Like, so I pull up the rangefinder real quick, and they're at about 600 yards. Easy day, right? Not so much. Yeah, they're lazing about. I'm wheezing still. My wife's all calm, cool, and collected. I'm like, I'm going to shoot. She's like, slow down. Let me at least put my earplugs in, get my binos out, right? And I'm braced up on this rock. I'm a damn eagle-eyed sniper from the military, right? Spec Ops. I don't miss. Wrong. I put it right in front of it. Right in front. I mean, you can see the hair bristle off his chest, right? And they were gone. Yeah, well, not one of my proudest moments, but I amped up. I got excited. And I don't know how many countless times I've been on the scope, pulling shots, this and that, but hiking that hill, seeing this thing, like I hadn't harvested an aoudad before, so the excitement of that, and I saw a big one, right, that I was trying to get. So my heart rate, as I call it, the rev limiter pinged, man. My eyes were big as pie plates, and I'm frothing at the mouth, like, ooh. And invariably, that transitioned right into my rifle, and I pulled that shot right in front of it. It should have been just a chip shot, if you will, but I missed it.
You know what I found is if I'm placed in a situation where things need to happen pretty quick, I don't have time to get excited.
Exactly.
And so I'm focused on the task at hand, acquire the image, safety off, ready to go, and then squeeze. Sometimes when you're waiting for the presentation, and it's the time. And then all of a sudden you start thinking, and you put your binoculars back up, and you're like, that's a big ass son of a bitch right there. And then, then that's when it starts coming. And all of a sudden you're sitting there, or like you said, it could have been under exertion because of a stalk, or sitting in a deer stand. There's no exertion, and all of a sudden just the excitement overcomes you. It's almost like if anybody's ever had an anxiety attack, I would almost kind of parallel it with something like that, because you're in a stationary position, or if you've been taxed, but all of a sudden everything ramps up, and you have to go through a process, if you can, to slow your heartbeat down, start breathing deeply and then, do the exhale and your squeeze. But it's a process, because the biggest thing, as we were talking about this when we're out on the range, and that's why I wanted to go shoot at the 600-yard target. If I am going to hunt, and I'm proudly a hunter and I will hunt for the rest of my days, some people ain't into it. I am. I want to make the most ethical, great, precise shot that I can, so that animal dies quickly. I take the meat, I eat all the meat, and there's no grief, or it doesn't run off and I cannot find it. That is unacceptable to me.
And that's the true sportsman in you, too.
But when the nervous system takes over, it can cause all kinds of havoc.
Yeah, and that's the true sportsman you're talking. And I think what every red-blooded hunter strives for is that shot. Again, like you said, that doesn't always happen. It can be from that buck fever, that anxiety. It was kind of like, the other example I could give was like the first time I went and saw you and you entered the ring. I had to calm myself down. I got a little anxiety. Like, that's Steve. I could barely say your name,
Dude, when you got an Army Ranger sniper, when the head of his class is getting excited, that's a good thing.
There you go, right?
All these days later, you're saying, you know what? He's a regular dude.
Yep.
Alexa isn't the only one with breaking news. Make sure to hang around at the end of this podcast for the latest breaking headlines on the AP News Minute.
You've seen him in the hit movie Night School with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish. But you can hear Rob Riggle every week on the funniest sportscast around with co-host Sarah Tiana.
The way it usually works is you do the script as written, because that's what the studio paid for. Then you do another take, same thing, only with notes. Then on the third pass, they'll come back and say, okay, anybody got a thought? Yeah, can I try this? No. Can I try this? No. Moving on.
Check out Riggle's Picks every Thursday on PodcastOne or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Hey, take me back to sniper school, because you go through all your basic training and then you go through the selection process. You're at the top of the class, all this weeding out process.
Yeah.
So what does the actual sniper whatever school consist of? How long is it? How intensive is it?
It's evolved.
You speak shit that I don't understand.
That's smoke and mirrors. I don't understand it either. I just read a lot. No, I'm totally kidding. So once I was in the Rangers and I got to the position where I was asked to become a sniper, because it's not one of those like, hey, you're a private, brand new dude, here's the sniper rifle. And that's one of those, I strove to get to that point. You had to be you had to be chosen to become that guy on the team. When I started in early 90s there, right after Panama, I got to the battalion. I was the grunt on the squad, and my secondary job is, after I've proven that I could shoot, was to become the designated marksman. Me and another guy who, lo and behold, eventually became a Delta member as well. That was our secondary task. So I carried a damn squad automatic weapon most of my time until I'd gone to Ranger school. And I was a sniper for that platoon during that time. And then it evolved into, they created a sniper platoon, or a team, not a platoon, but you were part of the weapons platoon in the sniper section, excuse me. So you'll see that, like that SS, that sniper section, or scout sniper. There's different variations of it, but you get chosen to that. And then obviously the goal is to go to sniper school, get your education. When I went through in the early 90s, it was 3 weeks. And Army sniper school did not actually teach wind calling. They had instructors that's what they're doing. You were working on understanding the gun, estimating range, stalking, what the heck was the other one called, where you had, like, they had the Kim's game, and then there was where they'd hide stuff out there at different distances, and you had to find, like, I'm brain farting, I don't remember what they called that drill, but in 3 weeks of that, shooting, known distance, unknown distance, working on your stealth, your field craft was a major part of that. Range estimation, remember, we were working off of MIL reticles, MOA reticles back then. It just had these dots, and you had to spend enough time on that to be able to, with your eye, break down that MIL dot. Was actually from end to end was 1 mil, and then in between, and you're trying to break that down in your eye and guess off of repetition many times, and getting good at guessing and estimating range to make that shot accurate. It's like when you and I are out, lays that sucker, boom. The distance is the distance is the distance. In my day, we'd guess that, set our dope, and make that shot. So we had to get good at that, or crawl closer. So stalking, 3 weeks.
What's the deal? Where do you start? I mean, are y'all laying there shooting? I mean, is it round after round after round? Is
Quite
it
a bit.
Thousands of rounds?
Quite a bit. So my God, I don't remember how many rounds we shot in sniper school, but yeah, it was just range time, and then we'd do stalking tests, and you had to do X amount of those and pass them with a percent. If you got busted out by so we had in the stalking drills, you get your ghillie on, they put you at this line out here, instructors are out on a truck, on this end, and you got to move through this undetected, get to a point where you can make a shot with a blank, and they're going to start looking for you. They're looking for that muzzle flash. They're looking for movement. If your vegetation and your camouflage isn't good enough, and they got a guy out there walking on you, right? And they're talking to him on the radio saying, okay, 10 steps to the left, and they're trying to vector in, box in on you and bust you out. So you got to use all that, all that to your advantage, using concealment or, pieing off of a tree. So the majority of your body's covered by the tree, from your shot and be sneaky, right? And then we go out and do range estimation drills, some overnight movements where we had to move in on a target, right? And make a shot without being seen, things like that. It's since evolved in talking with some guys now, modern snipers, where I believe that class is 5 weeks now, which I think is great. They're starting to offer and start to teach more of that understanding wind and how to read it.
What was the scope that y'all started off with, a crosshair scope back in the day?
So crosshairs, it was the Leupold. What the hell was that? It was a Leupold 10 power ultra, fixed 10 power scope on my M24 with the mil dot reticle, and just started learning, like you said, repetitions and understanding and being able to start to have enough time on that gun and that scope to break it down, reps, and just doing it over and over and over. Where now guys like Todd Hodnett have, who's a phenomenal shooter, country boy from Texas, said there's a better way to do this than launching bullet after bullet and spending money, and started doing the math behind it and started reverse engineering these shots. And that's where we started to get these new systems and being able to do the math and bullet weight, height over bore, muzzle velocities, and we can create that shot mathematically to get much closer for first round hits or a second round impact on a much smaller shift, and taking the guesswork that I was doing back in the day with this range estimation out. And then beyond that, we got into Army Sniper School, what they called SOTIC, Special Operations Target Interdiction course, and that was a 6-week course. There's where I started to really learn my craft when it came to reading wind, because they got into that and reloading your own ammo. And no, we didn't do that in the Rangers, but starting to chase that rabbit down the hole, right? To get deep understanding of what it takes to survive and be good as a sniper. We did really well in that class too. I wasn't a distinguished honor graduate, but I was up there. I lived and breathed that stuff. So even to the detriment of marriage, like me being a Ranger and a sniper came first and before anything else. And the ex-wife knew that. Like that was short-lived, and I continued to be a Ranger. But just that full embracing of that and embracing the suck, if you will. I wanted to be out in the field. So a comment, I'll progress real quick, is then my everyday, basically our job in the Ranger Battalion as a sniper was we'd hit the range, probably a couple few days a week, and then we'd be in the field and then testing that out and doing our stocks. And then, as a sniper, when we started to do the team or the company missions, we were put out ahead of the company and we were reporting to the commander. And so we'd go out there and sneak around, the target and the objective for 24, 48 hours prior, gathering intel and with the hope of getting to take that one shot. A lot of times we didn't. We just gathered intel. The boys came in, did the assault, and we beat feet. I just embraced that whole lifestyle of being that guy.
But what was it when you're talking about going back to your training school, when you're crawling around the ground in your gi, trying to be undetected, you got the guys walking around you, you're trying to acquire a target, right? Mm-hmm. What's the worst thing that happened just crawling around on the ground with snakes, spiders? I mean,
for me, it was freaking poison oak. I got poison oak day 3, and for 2 more weeks, I had to get steroid shots, and I just looked like a bag of ass. I was trash, man.
A bag of ass is not good.
And then it's 100. I think it was July or August. I did that class down in Georgia, Fort Benning, Georgia, right? I'm a mountain boy, right? And then I was in Washington State, and then I'm in there in a freaking ghillie suit crawling around. That's 115 degrees out there, just dying. So staying hydrated, 2 to 3 hour stalks. Not partying too much at night. I was a victim of that.
No, I had a serious question, because when Carlos Hathcock, when I was reading back, what's the name of that damn book?
Not Long Trank. Oh, that was his, I can't remember the name
I can't remember it either. But anyway, in reading that book, man, he would be in this position.
Days.
Fairly exposed. He had to be completely still. Stealth was paramount, or
Inches
he'd be busted, he'd be
an hour.
dead.
Yeah.
So, dude, what do you do? if you're in that position, it's a serious question.
Yeah.
Do you just piss on yourself?
Yep.
Do you just shit yourself?
If you're in that position.
I mean that with respect. I'm asking, how do you stay hydrated? What do you do?
Sometimes you don't. And is this the mental toughness, that mindset of like, this is it, man. You're all in on your chips and like you're crawling, and you've got some water with you. But there was a mission we did, training mission. I won't exaggerate that stuff. I was on a training mission, and we went out ahead of the company. Me and my partner got in this positions, and of course I wanted to get closer, just because trying to be a sneaky bastard. So I got pretty close to the target, and I'm in like this dense, like mossy fern area, and I'm covered. He covered me up with all this ferns and like moss and stuff, and I'm just laying there watching, gathering intel, how many people, distance from the fire to the tents or this or vehicles, all that stuff. And freaking two of them get up and start coming at me and start digging a slit trench, like where they can use the bathroom. 2.5 hours. Now, this isn't Carlos Hathcock days, but 2.5 hours I could not move, and it was fairly chilly. So I'm like frozen in place here because they weren't 10 yards from me. For 2.5 hours, comms, like no commo, no nothing, like just don't move, dead silent. And then when they finally, I didn't get caught. They move off, man. I went to move and like my legs asleep, my arm fell. it's like my arm and leg had gone numb. Like it fell over. Fortunately, it was pretty quiet. Just like, God, you can get back, drink a bunch of water, write down what you got to send, and the actual like defecation, if you lack of a better term. Strangely, it doesn't happen a lot, but because the amount of food you took, you burned. Like there was very little leftover, I guess you could say. Yeah. So I didn't use the bathroom like that very often in the field. Now, if you're in a hide site and you built a position, we'd use the old trash bag or Ziploc type deal because you didn't want to get out and do it. But let's be honest, a lot of times in training, you're like, screw it, I'm getting out. I'm not pooping in a bag. But yeah, that's reality of it, especially when you start getting in these combat positions, urban fighting. They're probably finding a corner that they can use that stuff, and that's their spot, man. And you deal with that smell, you deal with that stink, and then hopefully it's not picked up, by your adversary. It's definitely a factor. It's the mental toughness of it, and I think I pride myself most on my accomplishments in the military, and I'll make that very short. Is just that, like, man, there was better dudes than me physically, mentally, just dudes I looked up to, studs that just didn't make it. Like they got hurt, they weren't picked, whatever it might be. You just don't quit, man. And I've taken, you just refuse to fail and force them to play you're not good enough for the hand, but don't ever put yourself out of that game. So the mental toughness to me is I just flat out freaking refuse. Like, no, it ain't going to be me that quits. Like, you're going to have to drag me off of this. And I took that mental, that mindset from day one in the military all the way through my career and to this day. I've tried several different things that work for myself to this day still, doing protection and teaching shooting. Some months are harder than others, but I just refuse to fail, and I want to live the life I want to live. Be mentally tough, man, and just chew every day up and have fun with it.
But one of the things I'm paraphrasing you, maybe you can straighten this sentence out for me, but it's like you're really, as far as your performance, you're not really interested in being ordinary. You're chasing excellence. As far as the standard that you set for yourself.
I would say yes, and to me it's a personal drive to continue to challenge myself and seek that. I'll be honest, like I wasn't even sure what the heck Delta was when I was in the Rangers, right? I was just like, I got the damn recruiter came through, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, I want to try that. Like that's right up my alley, right? Like you got to be this many years in the military, second enlistment, all these prereqs, and how many people make it? Again, I kind of go back to that dudes that failed or didn't make it that I was out with. Like, I'm like, how the hell did I just make it? I just didn't quit, man. I just kept going. And out of almost 100 guys that went through my selection with me, 5 of us made it out the other side. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a better man. I just happened to, the stars lined up and I refused to quit.
Just in a general sense, what are some of the biggest mistakes? Because I want to get into you teaching firearms instruction, your protection services, all the stuff that you do, all the different brands that you sponsor with. But just with respect to generalities, as far as the biggest mistakes you see ordinary people like myself making mistakes in, because like we went to the prone shooting position, I was all crooked, so you straightened me out. Other than that, I guess I did fine because you didn't really say anything else to me. But what would be some of the biggest mistakes you see for people that are somewhat either beginner to mid-range level as far as experience, that are common sense things that should know better?
I think the common sense side of it when you start to boil it down, and when it comes to shooting, I think there's this inherent tendency to cut corners. Like, well, if I just buy a cooler pistol, or if I put this better thing or widget on it, then I can not focus on the fundamentals. And the fundamentals are the fundamentals. Like, there's no like wizardry, I guess is the word. Not science. It is a lot of science, but there's no wizardry to shooting fast. What separates a guy like Taryn Butler from an everyday shooter is his mastery of the fundamentals and how he applies them. Like, so when I teach, it's like, understand those fundamentals to the minutia, and the better that you can dissect those fundamentals and get better and smoother with those, the better shooter you become. Some of it's just technique, right? There's tons of techniques. So the fundamentals are this, right? Then there's 15,000 techniques and how somebody might teach you to get to that point. I think sometimes the cart gets put in front of the horse and everybody wants to shoot fast, make loud noise, and be like, woo, I just smoked like 15 rounds through this thing in 6 seconds, but you didn't hit shit.
Yeah.
You know, because your draw was terrible. You just never saw the front sight post. So what I would encourage people when they get out there and start to do is make your training matter, make your practice matter, have an end state for that you want to get smoother on your draw. You want to find that front sight post a little quicker and dissect your fundamentals. How is my trigger control? You know, am I really seeing that front sight post the way I want to see it? And that will inherently make you a better shooter, because now you're going to focus on the fundamentals to applying a correct shot, and then make those shots count. You know, look to make every shot count instead of just blaze 15 rounds. Well, I hit 6, so we're good. Well, hit 14 or 15 of those. You know, slow down, you know, to get to that point where you can speed up. Does that make sense? Like, if you try to just go out there and run with, you know, this T-Rex guy, Taryn, and you're an average shooter because you haven't dialed in your fundamentals, you're just gonna make a lot of loud noise, expensive noise on top of it. Slow it down so you can speed that process. It becomes a subconscious capability for you to just, boom, it's there. And now you can speed this up. Long range shooting, really just focus on that natural point of aim, getting that body alignment. If you can get prone, you know, again, some injuries, you know, with your neck and it was your back's crooked as a politician. You know, that's what I was actually looking at, was your neck and your shoulders. Like, it's a handsome man. No, wait, can I say that?
Hey, man, with you training in firearms, what kind of hand-to-hand combat skills were you trained in? I mean, you were kind of like a brawler. I mean,
that's for me. It was just
boxer.
Be meaner than the next guy.
Yeah.
I did some boxing, and then my sniper buddy at the time was like an all-state type wrestler out of high school, and just used to clean me out, man. And then we started boxing, right? We started boxing. And he's yay high, and I'm just wearing him out with a jab. He's like, you son of a, you know. So the next day he forced me to wrestle. So we go back between boxing and wrestling, and that really helped me just develop, like, okay, if I have to tie in, great. When I got out to the unit, we started with like the Gracie stuff, mid-90s, when that was really, Hoist was like showing the world a new thing. So that unit is very good at, like, we got to try that, you know, whether it's a pro shooter that's kicking ass and like, okay, what is he doing that we're not? Let's get training from them. Let's learn their techniques. And so we did that with the MMA stuff and starting to do the jiu-jitsu. I was mostly a test subject for the other guys, being the new guy. So I'm like, screw that. I'm going to the range and get better with my pistol. You grab me, I'm going to shoot you. And so I did a lot of boxing, some of the jiu-jitsu. I don't claim to be anywhere close to savvy on that, but I have a knack for just trying to be meaner than the next guy, and that mental mindset that I'm not going to lose, you know. And then you back that with a solid skill set, and I won't say enhanced by any stretch of imagination, but knowing like how to tie in this and that, get to my guns, get to my alternate weapons if necessary, to take the advantage and win.
Dude, any knife training skills? You know, I partnered with Cold Steel Knives over in Ventura, California. Oh, right on. And we got the Broken Skull knife and the Working Man knife. I can see that. Lynn Thompson is an absolute animal. When you walk into his office, there's probably 1,000 books in there, all about, you know, the making of old weapons, spears, knives, arrows. If you name it, he has studied it. He's read every single book in there. But he also trains every single week. It's in knife classes, and he's a master technician, but knife fighting, jiu-jitsu. I think he might have a boxing or grappling coach, and he does his workouts. I mean, he's a fanatic about it. So did you ever do any training with knives?
Well, Steve, I'm a sniper, so you pull a knife, I'm going to smoke you at about 300. Popular contrary to popular belief.
I'm not going to pull a knife on you.
Yeah. Don't bring a knife to a rifle fight.
Honey, how'd you get that hole in your chest? I pulled a knife on Jim.
No, reality is in special operations, I did a lot of cool-ass training, but there's like, I think a misconception that you're trained like, you guys put in like mouthpieces with like razor teeth and you got knives and nunchucks and shit. It's not true. I did no knife training whatsoever. I did hand-to-hand. Our hand-to-hand there was actually in full gear, gunned up, ready to go. You open the door, let's go. And you had to fend off this instructor that was looking to tear your head off, right? With your AR, pistol, everything, because he's trying to get to your guns. Long story short, I didn't really get into the knife crap. They may do it nowadays, but when I was there, we did no sort of knife fighting. I think it's an exceptional thing to have, especially if you start talking everyday ready scenarios. What do you have on you? Pistol, knife, escalation of force. I think it's a great skill set to have. But that shit's nasty. I mean, you're going to get cut and you're going to bleed, and there's just no way around. It's going to hurt. And so I have a lot of respect for guys like that have that skill set. I pull my gun.
but let's flip it around. Because you're a tactical guy from your background and currently training, staying proficient. And I've seen what you do with the pistol as well as with the rifle. So it's very interesting when someone has a gun, but they're not proficient. They haven't trained enough, but they have a gun for home protection. All of a sudden, someone bum rushes them with a knife, and they think just because they have the gun, and we're talking from that door is 12 feet away, and they're on you. Yeah. Because you don't know what you're doing, not you, but the person doesn't know what they're doing. And so you might have you might have brought a gun to a knife fight, but you're going to lose.
Yeah, you freeze up. If you've never had that situation happen before, that guy's going to own you. Training will help you prepare for that, and I can't tell you a number on how many people I've seen. You start talking concealed carry or having a gun on you. Like, remember, the bad guy's getting the head. He's not going to start contact till he's ready. You're going to be behind the power curve to start. But me to you, we're 3-4 feet away and still miss. Like, gun out and still miss because their fundamentals are not at a subconscious level of being able to capably pull it off, or they've never put themselves in that position in any sort of training to get that stress level up so that they have something to fall back on in that freaking moment of terror, right? That sheer chaos. And if you don't have that already, you're even more behind the power curve. And if you start missing shots at 3-4 feet, now open that up to 7 yards or something, and that guy can close on you in under 2 seconds with a knife when he has the drop on you. You're a victim at that point, sadly.
Did you ever get any three-gun shooting competitions? Because I've seen a lot of your videos because I was on your website. Let's talk about your website for a second.
Well, I did some three-gun stuff till I started getting my ass kicked by all these country boys, and I'm just like, well, this ain't fun. So,
but how are your pistol skills?
My pistol skills, I believe, are
premier,
pretty darn good. And basically all my training anymore is based on what I call everyday ready, coming from concealment or on my person, no race holsters. So even when I go out and do something like the IDPA or IPSC stuff locally, I guess I'm still doing pretty good because I hadn't shot a match when I was down in Texas. Lived down in Texas for a number of years before I went overseas. I was doing like IPSC, this 3-gun type stuff every weekend when I wasn't deployed. And, I was high A, I think, high whatever that was, fairly proficient, but I was always amazed at how some of these civilian guys that were just freaking lightning fast. And you start talking to them because I'm going to crack the code. Like, how can I get that to that level, right? These 100 draws, every lunch, 100 draws every day. Their dry fire drills are just like unparalleled. So my skills after almost 10, 15 years of just teaching and not shooting really, like it's like that bicycle, right? You ride it, but like you got to kind of remember how to do it. I knocked the dust off a couple months ago and went out and shot a local match, about 50 dudes, and I took third. And one of the guys that beat me was using a carbine. I was like, I'm still pretty decent then. I'll take that.
How did you come up with the nickname, the Kraken?
Well, I didn't. So one of the
you can't ever come up with your
exactly.
Own
that's that you can't do.
If you do, you're a J bro. Yeah. You can't just
come
up with
your own.
It'd be like me saying, "Hey, Jim, from now on, I want you to call me Duke."
Yeah.
Why? Because I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna drink out of my sippy cup with my pinky out.
Yeah,
Duke.
So you can't make up your own nickname. So how did the Kraken? How was the Kraken born?
it's kind of it's a very vanilla story, but it's kind of cool. So I was living up in New Hampshire and got up there, and there was this what they call a Rolling Thunder, motorcycle organization, but there was a POW MIA awareness type of group. They'd go out and do veteran runs and clean up veteran cemeteries, stuff like that. I met those guys. I'm like, that'd be kind of cool to be a part of when I'm around, and like-minded dudes. Well, I was basically like one of the youngest guys out there, rolling with a bunch of Vietnam vets and World War II guys out of the American Legion in a town just down the road. Me being a fairly big dude, like yourself, like I basically was like the de facto sergeant, sergeant, what do they call it, the sergeant at arms or whatever the hell they call it, I can't remember. And we're doing a brief one day on this big ride we're going to do. And like, all right, we're going to stop here. It's like a poker run. We're going to stop here and do this. We're going to the heart of the place. We're going to do this. And one of the stops is a bar, but you can't be drinking, because we're riding the bikes and everything. So you guys play by the rules. If we catch you. And the vice president looks over, and I'm standing probably like 10 feet from him. He goes, we're going to release the Kraken. And he points at me, and I'm just like, well, shit, that's kind of cool. And then he said it like, if we catch you like 3 more times, and it just boom, stuck, and been the Kraken ever since. And so Army dude with a mythological water creature damn nickname.
But what does the Kraken mean?
Yeah, I take it 2 ways. It's like, like once they release the Kraken, right? Like that's the end days. That's the end game, right? So I take it 2 ways. It's like once I get a hold of you, that's it. Or maybe I'm just like super huggy, and like if I just hug a little too long, like it's uncomfortable. I'm not sure.
Yeah, when you came over a while ago, when you hugged me, it was like at the 32-second mark, I started wigging out.
Yeah, in time. Like, beep.
I'm just kidding. And this guy's working on his bear hug.
Yeah, it's like, how's that neck, Steve?
Yeah, I was telling him Harley Race stories before we started rolling sound. I'm like, okay, dude's got a bear hug on me, former Army Ranger. All my shit's fake. I'll just let him hug me for another 30 seconds. We're going to set a world hugging record.
Yeah. Do you need some water?
2 of the toughest dudes alive just set a hugging record. Hey, man, how do people get a hold of you? Because you firearms instructor, we'll get to your brand ambassador stuff as well, but just as far as your training stuff, your seminars, your long distance stuff, your pistol courses, half the people I've met out here in Nevada said when they went for their CCW, they were trained by Jim Erwin. So
right on.
How do people get a hold of you? Because, everybody around here just speaks super highly of you.
Well, I'm definitely humbled by that, and truly enjoy sharing what I know. So krakenapproved.com is my website, and you can hit me through email through there if you're looking to do some training. A lot of the training I do fairly ends up kind of impromptu, like, okay, well, if we can get 10 guys, yeah, we'll go to Texas, right? Or Oregon or whatever it might be. CCW classes will start to put more on there, so don't be scared away if they don't see training curriculums on there, because they develop over time. Somebody shows interest and, okay, hey, let's get 4 guys together. We'll go do some long range. You need a CCW for Nevada. Just hit me up on www.krakenapproved.com, Kraken. And then social media is another great way to follow myself and Steve. Mine on Instagram is Jim the Kraken 1, the number 1, and that is also for my public figure page on Facebook. And pretty good at responding. As long as you don't ask silly questions, you don't win silly prizes.
Man, I would have picked Jim up. We was going to the range the other day, and all of a sudden his cat is on the hood of my Chevy pickup. I got about 20 shots. It's like a photo shoot.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's like a drug-sniffing cat. I said, man, I ain't got nothing on me. But, that cat, I was scared to get out.
Just checking you out.
That's a great catch.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, and we found that cat in the barn, feral cat, right? And I'm like, I don't want no damn cat. Day one, that thing's been clung to me. My cat, every morning at like 3 a.m., almost to a detriment, right? 3 a.m., between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., that cat will wake me up by like purring on my shoulder and, I don't know what you call it, like making dough, like just basically digging his claws into my neck. Yeah, in my neck. Like, what? Like, I can't launch him because, he's being cool. He's purring. He's not just being a jerk. So I get up about 3, 4 in the morning, feed him, shut my door, call it. But, yeah, super cool cat. Got lucky with that one.
Hey, man, tell me real quickly about your brand ambassador for Wiley X, Leopold. You got a bunch of them, all quality stuff, and I like because you're like me. You're not going to put your name on anything that you don't believe in. And
I believe that to my core. It's like I'm not going to, if I won't use it or put it on loved ones going into harm's way, then I'm not going to put my name to it. And I think that needs to be, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, a lot of competing brands, but the ones that have received me I truly appreciate and humbled that they'd even do so. So, and I've got a few. So I'm proud to be able to earn a living supporting and promoting these killer brands. So Wiley X, eyewear, great guys. And I have a long history with those guys. And my original two were Proof Research, making the carbon fiber barrels and some killer guns. They build about 200 guns a year, full builds. And Cryptek Outdoor being one of my very first ones. Great group of guys. The co-founders are both military spec ops guys, pilots, right? So I fell in with those guys early on, and they've been nothing but good to me, and an excellent pattern that works. So again, just because it looked cool, and they're military guys, still one of those things. I still went out and tried it out, right? When I started disappearing in my old man, I was like, damn, that stuff does work. I've worn it ever since. Leupold Optics, great optics, made up in Oregon, and been super supportive of me and all my glasses, those guys now. STI International with the pistols, Spikes Tactical with the AR platforms, Rockwell watches. Rockwell's actually a really cool story. They're out of Utah. Former football player and college wrestler started it in the football. He used to play for the Dolphins, came out of BYU, started up this watch company. Now they do not only watches, but they do some nutrition. They have a fitness facility where they bring in youth, local kids, and let them play on their flag football field and do training for them. And then they're getting into some other stuff as well. So pretty cool brand there as well. MGM Targets out of Idaho, Nevada Cerakote here locally, who does some just killer Cerakote jobs on guns. About one of the most humble men you'll ever meet, and cranks out some great work. Dark Soul Design, my buddy Ted down in California. Someday he'll come to the dark side over here in Nevada so he can be a legal gun owner. Just a very entrepreneurial guy making some cool stuff. Actually, on a project, you might be interested on some soap. So we're going to do some Kraken type soap that's like, all hopped up with like caffeine stuff. It'll make you buzz. Rocky Mountain Precision, another awesome rifle maker, hunting, long range gun builder. He does. He builds every single gun. He's got a great team that helps him do this stuff, but he puts his stamp on each and every gun. You buy a gun from him, you have the option as well as he breaks in each and every gun, but he'll also do a load workup for that rifle. You'll get 50 rounds of ammo with that gun, a day of training, and a gun case, and if you got a scope you want it, he'll mount it and zero it for you as well. For the price, very hard to beat. And that gun will run with any $10,000 rifle out there. Super great guy, Dustin Crandall out there in Durango, Colorado. XGO, Vertex, Lakeshore Ammunition, and the Wildlife Gallery. So when you harvest that big old toad, I got a guy for you. And the Wildlife Gallery does some awesome work. I just got my Aoudad and Corsican Ram back from them, and they look great. And that's all I can remember off the top of my head.
Man, I got the same Rockwell. That's a stadium watch, I think.
Yeah, the Coliseum. Yeah.
Coliseum. Problem is, mine's an OD green. No, I got the camo model just like that. Take it back. The band. Need a bigger band.
I know a guy.
Okay, that's all you had to say. I called them.
Did you?
I called a custom shop, but then I never returned the call. But that's
it's not like you're busy.
Dude, it's like this G-Shock I'm wearing right now. I got it on the second to last thing, and the damn end of the belt doesn't hardly go underneath the clasp. It's like, come on, man. Can you help
you make a big boy size?
And make a man size watch? I'm kidding.
No, yeah,
both great
you
watches.
Got big wrists.
I have a hard time
you got big,
finding
thick
watches that fit my ass.
Because when you stun a dude, like it starts to build up that wrist,
man,
right?
If I start drinking beer and I get all swolled up, my watch pops off the hand. Popeye used to eat spinach. I drink beer.
There it is.
Anyway, that's a whole other story for a whole other day. Wait, man, let's wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna bring it home on the close. Man, it was a pleasure talking to you. And I'm looking forward to going back out there at that range we was at, man, to go shoot those targets. Because the thing about it is, I love to shoot. And it's one thing, like if I was at the ranch back in Texas, just with my picnic table and the targets 100 yards away. But, man, out there in that high desert with those targets so far away and being able to have a spotter, you with a scope, and then you can hear that still, that report.
Having that partner really helps.
Oh, it's a game changer.
Yeah, for sure.
I could shoot out there all day by myself, but when you shoot the shit, and I actually, you could swap places. You could shoot for a while. I could spot.
Absolutely. Let those barrels cool a bit.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that's why I've loved Nevada so much. You've been here longer than I have, and I love Texas. That's where I'm from. But man, it's so beautiful out here, and there's so many like-minded people doing the same things that you enjoy and that I enjoy. Man, I know I picked the right place to come to. And
man, we're happy to have you here, and I look forward to hanging with you more and creating some new adventures to talk about, because I'm almost certain that's going to happen.
Oh, damn sure. And I'm fixing to open up a refrigerator and give you 6 Broken Skull IPAs because right now I'm ready for the hunt. So I'm completely on the wagon.
On the wagon.
Dialed in on the nutrition. I've got an appearance I'm making, so I'm trying to get back into shape. And if I get out of shape, Jim the Kraken is going to light me up.
That's it.
So we can't have that happen. Coming right back to wrap this show up. Good talking to you, Jim.
Thanks, brother.
Guys can be terrible at taking care of their health. Whether it's a knee injury, bad back, or something worse, guys are usually more comfortable rubbing some dirt on it than seeing a doctor. Well, the same is true for erectile dysfunction. Studies show 70% of guys who experience ED don't get treated for it. Thankfully, our new sponsor, Roman, is here to help. Roman is a one-stop shop for diagnosing and treating ED online. ED often means that something else is going on in your body. It could be an early sign of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and obesity. That being said, it's best you get yourself in check. Roman offers a quick and easy online questionnaire. Should only take you 10 minutes to complete, which is then reviewed by Roman's network of U.S. licensed physicians. If appropriate, they'll prescribe brand-name medication that ships directly to your door. No awkward conversations, no waiting rooms, no inconvenient trips to the pharmacy, and Roman offers you, the patient, control of your dosage and various brand options through your personalized online dashboard. Just for listeners of the Steve Austin Show, go to GetRoman.com/Austin to receive your first month of medication free. One more time, that's GetRoman.com/Austin for your first month of medication free. Check it out. If you or a loved one suffer from leg or foot cramps, you know how painful and disruptive they can be. Muscle cramps can jolt you out of a sound sleep or interrupt your daily life. Well, check it out because I'm about to get you hip to Theraworx Relief. This is a non-greasy foam that's proven to relieve muscle cramps fast and reduce muscle soreness. With daily use, Theraworx Relief can even prevent muscle cramps before they start so you can get a full night's sleep or do the activities you love. Theraworx Relief only takes minutes to apply. It absorbs quickly, and it works. People love the results, and you've probably seen Dr. Drew Pinsky on TV putting Theraworx Relief over. It's that efficient and that respected. The holiday season is around the corner, so if you know someone who suffers with muscle cramps or muscle soreness, get them Theraworx. Theraworx Relief is the top choice for preventing and relieving muscle cramps. Get Theraworx Relief today in the pain relief aisle at Walmart, CVS, Rite-Aid, and Walgreens, or by talking to your pharmacist. Learn more at TheraworxRelief.com. That's THERAWORX Relief.com. Check it out. All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. Before I do that, I want to thank my guests, Jim Erwin, the Kraken, for coming by to BSR 2.0 today and shooting the breeze with me about hunting, shooting, sniping, military, all that stuff. Got a chance to know Jim now for a couple of weeks. We've been out shooting a couple of times. Man, super cool dude, very knowledgeable, very level-headed. Really enjoy spending time with this guy, so hope you enjoyed the conversation. Probably a few more down the road as we get out in the woods and do some more stuff. Appreciate you, Jim. Thanks for coming by the crib. Before I get out of here, I want to give you guys a couple plugs. I got a damn beer. It's called Broken Skull IPA. In my estimation, this is the best IPA in the United States of America, bar none. Bar none. That's how good this damn beer is. You can find it at Whole Foods and Total Wines if you live in Southern California. If you ain't in Cali, you're probably shit out of luck. If you come into Los Angeles, take a left out of LAX, go 4 miles down to the brewery at El Segundo Brewing Company and get it right out of the draft, or right out of the bottle there in the refrigerator system. If you're looking for a badass knife, I got 2 of them. Cold steel broken skull knife with the new working man's knife. You can get them both at my new Amazon store. Amazon's got the best price on both knives. Just go to Amazon.com/shop/Steve Austin. And that's the bottom line. If you don't go there, go directly to Cold Steel Knives website. Always ready. Got to say one more thank you to all the fine sponsors of the Steve Austin Show, especially BetOnline.ag, Geico, Roman, Theraworx, and TrueCar. That's how I'm able to do this podcast for you twice a week for free. Please support them because they support us. If you need more info on my sponsors, check out the show description to this episode for details. Folks, until next time, I will be out hunting mule deer. I'm back coming this Thursday with the one and only Ted Fowler 361. I'll be doing a Q&A thanks to the questions you sent me. My name is Steve Austin. If you didn't hear me the first time, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a PodcastOne production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Before we ride off, a quick message from our friends at TrueCar. If you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for, but what does it actually mean? Same goes for invoice, list price, and dealer price. It's enough to confuse anybody. All you're really looking for is a price that actually means something. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of home. Now, do you know if your true price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what other people pay for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.